In a world that never stops shouting, there exists a different kind of human. One who speaks in silences, thinks in layers, and feels the gravity of things others walk right past. You might mistake their quiet for emptiness, but it's the opposite. It's a vastness, a universe of thought hidden behind a pair of observing eyes. If you've ever felt like an outsider in your own life, like you're watching the world from behind a pane of glass, you're not alone. This is the psychology of the deep thinker. These people, the deep thinkers, don't just look at a tree. They see the entire history of the soil it's rooted in, the centuries of sunlight stored in its wood, the silent pact between root and rock. They notice the angle of its branches, the way it bends toward the sun, and in that they see a mirror for their own longing for growth, a testament to the quiet, persistent force of life seeking light. For them, thinking isn't a hobby or a distraction. It's the fundamental process of existence. It's breathing, and their minds are built for depth, not for speed. They're the deep-sea divers of consciousness, descending where the pressure crushes triviality and only substantial truths survive. Psychologically, researchers identify this as high-trait introspection, a relentless drive to analyze not just the external world, but the intricate, shifting landscape within. It's linked to a brain that's always humming, specifically in a network called the default mode. This is the circuitry of reflection, imagination, and memory. So when a deep thinker seems miles away, they are. They're weaving connections between past, present, and possibility, seeing metaphors in the mundane, turning a simple conversation into a symphonic study of human emotion, a single glance into a novel of unspoken narrative. But this beautiful, complex machinery comes with a cost. It can be profoundly isolating. While the world reacts, the deep thinker observes. They pause. They notice the flicker of doubt in a smile, the weight behind a casual sigh, the story told in the slump of a shoulder. By the time they've processed the 10 layers of meaning in a question, the social moment has often passed. The conversation has moved on. So they stay quiet. And that silence is frequently misunderstood as disinterest, shyness, or worse, arrogance. When in reality, it's the exact opposite. It's a sign of profound engagement, a soul listening so intently it forgets to make a sound. A deep thinker doesn't want to just talk, they want to understand. They crave conversations that feel like diving, where you leave the sparkling, noisy surface behind and plunge into the quiet, profound depths where the real treasures lie, the shipwrecks of old dreams, the pearls of hard-won truth. Small talk isn't just boring to them, it's exhausting. It feels like trying to run in ankle-deep water, all effort and no momentum, a pantomime of connection that leaves them spiritually parched. And here is where the inner tension truly begins. This constant, rich processing often leads to overthinking, but it's crucial to distinguish this from simple anxiety. It's not just worrying about the future, it's a relentless, almost artistic pursuit of nuance. They replay events, not to torture themselves, but to dissect them, to examine every angle, every possible meaning, every hidden root of an emotion. Their brain refuses to accept a simple answer because it has already seen a dozen more complex, more truthful ones shimmering beneath the surface. They live in a state of high-definition self-awareness, a psychological state called metacognition, thinking about their own thinking. It's like having a permanent, gentle observer in their own mind, watching, questioning, and analyzing every thought that passes through. This makes them incredibly insightful, but also vulnerable to a specific, crystalline kind of self-doubt. When you see everything in 4K resolution, you see all your own flaws with painful, unforgiving clarity. Every stumble is replayed in slow motion, every imperfect intention held up to the light. So they often walk alone, headphones in, not out of loneliness, but because solitude is their native language. It's the space they need to decompress the world, to untangle the knotted threads of thought and feeling that others don't even perceive.
In a crowded cafe, they might be staring blankly out the window, but inside, they're reconstructing a moment from a decade ago, analyzing a choice, a sentence, a glance, not with judgment, but with a cartographer's precision. They are trying to map the forgotten continents and subtle fault lines of their own soul. This is what sets them apart. They experience existential thinking as a constant hum, a bass note to their reality. They ponder not just their own life, but the nature of life itself, time, consciousness.
The haunting beauty of a transient moment, questions that have no easy answers, and that's precisely what draws them in, the magnetic pull of the mysterious. This profound depth is a double-edged sword. The same mind that can see the invisible threads connecting all things can also spin haunting illusions from thin air. When you're a master of connection, you can connect anything to anything. A silence becomes a rejection, a casual comment becomes a hidden critique. It's the paradox of the microscope that's too powerful. You start seeing details that were never meant to bear such weight, creating problems where none exist, building labyrinths in empty rooms. Yet this is also the source of their incredible, world-altering creativity. History's great innovators, the Einsteins, the Da Vincis, the Brontes, were deep thinkers. They saw the world from angles that others missed because they never stopped asking why. They could hold a problem in their mind and turn it over and over like a complex jewel until the hidden solution, the new facet, revealed itself in a flash of silent insight. But modern society rarely celebrates this pace. We live in an economy of speed, of hot takes and instant reactions, a carnival of noise. To a world that prizes snap certainty, the deep thinker's thoughtful pause looks like hesitation. Their beautiful complexity looks like confusion. So they learn to camouflage their true nature. They nod and smile in conversations while their inner world is galaxies away, composing sonnets from subtext. They perform the scripts of social interaction, all the while conserving their real energy for the dialogues that happened later in the quiet sanctuary of their own mind. This creates a specific, aching kind of loneliness. They yearn for connection, but only the kind that is willing to meet them in the depths, to put on the mental diving bell. And genuine, profound connection requires a vulnerability that not everyone is equipped to handle. So deep thinkers become guarded. They are selective, almost like emotional sommeliers, tasting the subtle notes of a person's character, waiting for a sign of similar depth, a whisper of shared wavelength. And when they find it, they don't open the door halfway. They swing it wide open. They will share the fragile, unpolished parts of themselves, their deepest fears, their most abstract wonders, the lonely planets of their inner cosmos.
They don't do halfway hearts, but this total vulnerability carries immense risk. When you see the world in shades of gray, you assume others do too. You operate on a baseline of radical honesty and nuanced intent. So, when you encounter simplicity, or worse, deception, it doesn't just sting. It feels like a fundamental fracture in reality, a tear in the fabric of understood truth. For a deep thinker, a small betrayal isn't small. It's a crack in the cosmos. And a brief, genuine kindness can feel like a restoration of faith in humanity itself. Everything is amplified. Everything carries the weight of meaning. This intensity is rooted in their very neurology. Studies suggest that deep thinkers, those who engage in reflective and abstract thought, have stronger, more intricate neural connections between the emotional and analytical parts of the brain. For them, feeling is thinking, and thinking is infused with feeling, a rich, inseparable blend. They don't just recall events, they relive the entire ecosystem of emotion that surrounded them. A song isn't just a melody, it's a time machine, a scent, a weather system of the heart. This depth of processing means they carry the past with them not as a simple memory, but as a living, feeling thing. Nostalgia isn't a gentle ache, it's a full-body experience, a momentary time travel that floods the senses. This is why they might be perceived as melancholy. It's not sadness,
It's awareness. It's the profound understanding that beauty and loss are inseparable threads in the same tapestry, that joy and grief are two notes in the same chord of being alive, and to feel one deeply is to know the shape of the other. Psychologists call this emotional complexity, the rare capacity to hold multiple, contradictory emotions at once in a trembling, beautiful balance. To a deep thinker, every feeling is a messenger with a coded letter. Fear signals what matters. Sadness reveals what is deeply loved. Joy is a compass pointing toward what must be protected and cherished. Yet, here's a beautiful counterpoint. Deep thinkers are often the funniest, most surprisingly witty people in the room. When you understand the inherent absurdity of existence, the cosmic joke, humor becomes a form of profound wisdom and survival. Their laughter is an act of grace, a way to hold the terrifying fragility of life lightly, to build a fire in the wilderness of uncertainty. But still, they are often misunderstood. Their quiet is seen as distance. Their processing is seen as disinterest. They absorb the emotional weather of every room they enter, sensing tension, inauthenticity, and unspoken pain like a human barometer. This empathic radar is exhausting, making solitude not a luxury but a necessary detox, a shedding of absorbed energies. Alone, they reset.
They journal, they walk, they stare at the sky, allowing the noise of the world to fade so they can finally hear their own inner truth whispering beneath the static. The healthiest deep thinkers learn a crucial, life-saving balance: to anchor their boundless inner world in the tangible, sensory reality of the present. They channel their tidal waves of reflection into creation, art, writing, music, meaningful work, or into grounding practices like mindfulness that root them in the here and now, the feel of bark, the taste of tea, the rhythm of breath. They realize the purpose of deep thought isn't to escape life, but to engage with it more fully, more compassionately, with eyes wide open. They become bridges between logic and empathy, intellect and intuition. They can analyze pain with clinical precision and still hold a sacred, silent space for it. They see the flaws, the greed, the pettiness in humanity, and still choose to love it fiercely. That is not intelligence. That is wisdom. If you love a deep thinker, understand this. They don't need you to agree with them or solve their puzzles. They need you to wonder with them. Their love language is curiosity. Their affection is shown in profound attention, remembering the details you forgot you shared, asking the questions that get to the core of who you are, listening for the poem hidden in your pause. They are slow to trust, but when they do, it is a conscious, complete offering, a choice made with eyes wide open. They don't fall in love carelessly. They choose it, deliberately, with their whole, complicated, beautiful mind. In the end, the psychology of the deep thinker is a reminder to all of us, a reminder that stillness is powerful, that questioning is an act of courage, that not everything needs an immediate answer, and that some truths only reveal themselves in silence. Deep thinkers exist as a necessary counterbalance to a shallow, hurried world. They are the ones who turn chaos into clarity, noise into insight, and ordinary moments into epiphanies of meaning. So, if you are one of them, don't apologize for your silence. Don't shrink your vastness to fit a smaller room. The world needs your depth, now more than ever. It needs people who see through the noise to the truth beneath, who can think in a straight line in a world of circles. Because deep thinking isn't just a way of understanding life, it's a way of honoring it. And in a world that moves so fast, that values the sparkle over the substance, depth is its own kind of light, a slow, steady, penetrating light that shows us what we are, what we feel, and what we might become.